Idaho, a state that you might have never thought you'd actually be considering moving to. A state really famous for two things, potatoes and our Smurf turf. But here you are considering moving to the gem state. So in this video, we are going to cover several things you should definitely know about before making that call and moving to Idaho. Hi, I'm Marcie Ellison with Ellison Realty Group, and I have to warn you, it's not all going to be pretty, but here are the top 10 things you should know about before making that decision to call Idaho home. Number 10, the weather will most likely make you wish you hadn't moved here at least once. You might have heard a thing or two about the weather here in Idaho, and some might be accurate, while others, big exaggerations. But there will be things you need to know. It will get cold. It will get down into the single digits at least once or twice in the winter. And there are parts of the state that will even go below 0 Fahrenheit every single year, and that'll happen more than once. The average winter temperature in Idaho can vary significantly depending on the region, because holy cow, have you ever actually taken a beat to consider just how long our state is? That's a lot of spread, and because of that, there's actually a lot of variety. In the southern part of the state, so in the Boise area, you can expect milder winters with average temperatures ranging from about 30 to 40 degrees. And yes, when I say milder, that is certainly dependent on where you're coming from and therefore what you're comparing it to. But in comparison to, say, the north end of Idaho, winters in the Boise and surrounding Treasure Valley area are indeed much milder. In the northern areas of the state, such as in Coeur and Sandpoint, winters are typically colder. They see average temperatures ranging right around 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, it's important to note that Idaho's diverse geography means we have varying winter conditions. One thing's a given though, and that is that there will be snow. And in the northern areas such as Sandpoint, there will be a lot of it. While in the southern areas such as in Boise and Meridian, there will usually be just enough to ensure you have a white Christmas and can head up to Bogus to get your snow bunny on, but not so much that your hands will be just fully calloused from shoveling come February.
The snow's all been shoveled.
And then let's not forget about inversions. Due to Idaho's mountainous terrain and peaks and valleys, atmospheric inversions do happen, and sometimes, or actually more like always, they tend to take newcomers by surprise.
Why is this happening?
So if you aren't familiar with inversions, they are kind of like nature's version of a stubborn, bugger of an old fridge. Instead of letting the warm air rise and cold air fall down like it should, with an inversion, it flips things upside down. So basically, well, maybe my fridge analogy wasn't quite right. Maybe it's more like a demon blanket. It basically feels like a huge cloud, just a cloud blanket, I guess, of sorts, covers the valley and traps cold air down and right on top of us, while keeping all that wonderful warm air up in the mountains. The result is, well, just a frigidly cold and sometimes flat out gloomy experience. Typically, thank heavens, we only see them a couple times a year, and usually they only last a week or two. And of course, there are some areas in Idaho that don't experience them. But in general, most Idaho cities and areas will see them in some shape or form every single winter. And now, number 9, the weather will also make you so glad you moved here at least several times a year. While winters can be long, the abundance of outdoor recreational activities we have right at our fingertips can make them pretty darn magical. Skiing, snowmobiling, snow tubing, ice skating, golly, the skies are really the limit. So that's certainly something we love about calling Idaho home. So what about the rest of the year? Idaho is a bit on the arid side of things, but the good thing is we definitely do have all 4 seasons, which for the most part, we love. We are most commonly asked about our winters, but the other 3 seasons definitely deserve some attention too. Right now, we are just at the beginning stages of fall, and while I adored summer and spring, golly, I'm getting super excited about heading to the pumpkin patch. Just ask my boys, I absolutely adore gourds. And yeah, just watching the leaves change, I'm ready for I'm ready for sweater weather. And I'm certainly not alone. Seasonal changes are just like a big breath of fresh air for most Idahoans. Seems like just when I'm starting to think, yeah, I'm over this heat, or yeah, I'm kind of over the slush, the next season kicks in and it just kind of revitalizes me. Before I move on, you might be wondering what summers are like here in Idaho. The hot season typically goes from about June 15th till mid-September, with the average daily high right around 85 to 95. So really the ideal temperature for enjoying the great outdoors without always having to seek the comfort of air conditioning. Summers in Idaho mean camping and lake fun, floating the river, paddleboarding, wakeboarding, just so many activities. You can certainly trust that you will be able to fill your summer with fun.
Straight on to Idaho then.
Number 8, you do not have to love the outdoors to love living in Idaho, but it certainly helps. One of the greatest things about Idaho is its access to the great outdoors. Idaho has rivers, lakes, mountains, reservoirs, sand dunes, seriously, sand dunes, and actually the largest single structured sand dune in all of North America. Check out our video covering the Bruneau sand dunes above, or better yet, I'm just going to put a link to it in the description of this video, and you can watch it after this video. So yeah, not only do we have access to all of these different outdoor activities, but with Idaho being one of the least densely populated states based on size, it's actually currently the 6th least densely populated state across the nation. That means you have to share the space just a little bit less than you would in other states.
The less people that know about this, the better.
Now, to any of my fellow Idahoans watching this who live either in the Boise metro area or in the Coeur d'Alene area, both of which have experienced just massive population booms over the past 5 or 6 years, calm down. I know. Camping has become a bit harder, and we now, more often than not, have to plan our trips months in advance. That said, we and you still have the option to do it. And once you've done it and you get to experience getting out in the great outdoors, it's well worth the effort. And something that many people in other states simply don't have access to and really sometimes can't even fully fathom having the option to do. So sometimes the things we get to take for granted as Idahoans are pretty magical in their own right. And then if you are interested in hunting, Idaho has it all. I don't know why I said Idaho with such a weird accent. Idaho has it all. So we've got big game, elk, deer, moose, to bird hunting. We've got turkey, grouse, duck, pheasant. And then, of course, there's fishing. There's catfishing and, of course, salmon and steelhead. Idaho really just has it all. Or if fly fishing is your jam, Idaho has some of the very best around. And then, heck, if you'd like to throw in a crawfish pot, which we call crawdad traps here in Idaho, or at least my boys do, you can have your very own Idaho lobster bake. And hey, don't knock it till you've tried it. So again, while no, you don't have to love the outdoors to love living in Idaho, with all the amazing things to do here, you will probably learn to. Number 7, if having a stranger wave to you is gonna throw you a bit, well then, living in Idaho is just gonna throw you a bit. Idahoans are some of the friendliest people you'll ever meet. And am I a bit biased? Well, of course I am, but it's true. Living in Idaho will mean you will know your neighbors as well as those who live 3 cul-de-sacs down from you. Or well, at least you'll know their dogs, and what's better than that?
Oh, and the people are so nice.
I have met some of the most generous, kind, and strong people right here in Idaho. While the independent spirit of the Wild Wild West is still very much alive and well in the state of Idaho, it's sort of just brilliantly tempered by just a strong sense of community. It is an interesting balance between liking our space and protecting our space and being good neighbors. I cannot tell you how many times we have been told that the genuine just friendliness of our state surprised and sometimes even sort of deterred people at first. But if you are coming from a state that might not be exactly well known for its sociable and warm vibe and feel, then Idaho might throw you a bit at first.
Why are you being so happy and nice?
But hey, if you're like the vast majority of others who at first were also taken back by it a bit, then I'd say just settle in, and I think you might just find yourself loving it. Number 6, you should probably know that at least half of your neighbors will likely own at least one firearm. And well, I personally don't know any gun owners who literally only own one gun, just straight out. Typically gun owners own at least, I don't know, if they're going to have a gun, they have several. Or more than several. But anyhow, for this video, I want you to know that Idaho is ranked 4th for gun ownership, with nearly 60% of Idahoan adults owning a firearm. So yeah, more than half of your neighbors will be armed, or at least their homes will be.
Johnny, the guy has a gun.
While this statistic might surprise some people, it certainly doesn't surprise me, even slightly. Idaho is known for hunting and outdoor sports, so firearms are a big part of the culture here. One big fact to know about Idaho, we are an open carry state, meaning that if you are at least 18 years old and can legally own a firearm, you can open carry without a permit. So you might be thinking to yourself, but aren't most states open carry? And yes, but also no, because well, there's open carry and then there's open carry.
Somebody loves their Second Amendment.
Now, is every Idahoan walking around with a gun attached to their hip? Certainly not. But would it be safe to assume that there would be people packing right around you when you're checking out at the grocery store or dropping something off at the post office? I would say definitely. If you're curious to know more about Idaho's gun laws, there's an awesome interactive resource that'll allow you to compare states based on all 50 policies that go into our state gun laws. I will put a link in the description of this video for you to check out. Number 5, let's talk about the wide variety of lifestyles that living in Idaho offers. For most, when they think of Idaho at first anyhow, they think of potatoes and oddly pitchforks. We've heard pitchforks a time or two now. But anyhow, they also think of Boise because yes, Boise is our capital city and makes up the largest metro area in the state. So if you're looking for a change of pace, but also want to be in or close enough to the hustle and bustle that comes with a city, then Boise surrounding Treasure Valley area and all the 9 cities that make it the place it really is should definitely be on your list to check out. And then there's also Coeur d'Alene. Nestled into the northern part of the state, Coeur d'Alene is famous for its stunning lake lifestyle and just amazing outdoor activities. The city features a fantastic downtown scene, a gorgeous lakeside resort area, an amazing golf course, and just really so much to explore. We've been to the annual Ironman there several times to cheer on my brother-in-law, Brian, and we always leave thinking, yep, we could definitely live in Coeur d'Alene. And then to the southeast, and known for its proximity to both Yellowstone and to the Grand Teton National Park, is Idaho Falls. The Snake River runs right through the city, and it's home to several great attractions such as the Idaho Falls Zoo and the Museum of Idaho. And then situated in south central Idaho, you'll find Twin Falls, which is named after the nearby Shoshone Falls and has often been referred to as the Niagara of the West. It is just straight out an outdoor enthusiast paradise with pretty much endless opportunities for hiking, rock climbing, water sports, just really all of the things. And then there is also Sandpoint, which is where my sister and her wonderful family live. And this isn't my sister whose husband does the Ironman in Coeur d'Alene. That's my other sister. But anyhow, I digress. Stay focused. Sandpoint is quite simply a treasure and another Idaho town that I never leave not thinking, yeah, I could definitely live in Sandpoint. It's located in the northern part of the state and pretty much feels like you are just surrounded by gorgeous lakes because, well, you kind of are. Sandpoint is known for its incredible beauty and outdoor recreation. The city offers an absolutely charming and just welcoming downtown scene, access to a great skiing resort, endless water activities, and really just a fantastic community all around. And yeah, the annual musical festival attracts people from all over the nation every single year. So gosh, I am now realizing that I need to make a separate video covering all of these towns in more depth, as well as so many others because I didn't even mention McCall, Sun Valley, Moscow, Lewiston, Post Falls, Ketchum. You get the gist. There's a lot of great Idaho towns to check out and explore, and they all have their unique traits and their special attributes to them. If you'd like to hear more about any of these cities or really any city in Idaho, please just shoot us a text or give us a call. We'd be more than happy to connect and tell you what we know. Now, number 4, there are still places in Idaho that do not have cell phone service.
Seriously?
Seriously.
If you are looking to get away from it all, well then Idaho can help you out. While service has definitely increased over recent years, there are still areas where it's either very spotty or just flat out non-existent. So if you're going on a family camping trip and think that you'll just be checking your work email several times a day, well guess what? You very easily might find yourself 100% on vacation and screen-free. So quickly checking your work email or just firing out a remind email to your team? Nope and nope. Idaho has other plans for you.
No, there's still no service.
Well, sometimes though, that quiet, and even if it's a forced quiet, can definitely be a bit of a reprieve. Moment of truth for this working mom. My boys told me several times this past summer how much they like going to places with us where we don't have service because then they know we won't be working. Did that make me feel a tad guilty and pull a little bit at my heartstrings? Yes. But then again, no, because, well, we schedule these trips every single year, and every single year we have that unplugged time, and it's time that's incredibly well spent. Memories are made that we'll keep forever, so having the option to, or if you arrive unaware, being forced to unplug can be so revitalizing. That all said, the service area across the state has increased over the past decade, and company options have as well. From the major carriers to local companies, you do have some options and choices now, but you better check the coverage maps or you might just find yourself with a provider that, well, that just doesn't provide what you need.
I needed what I needed when I needed it.
Number 3. Yes, the state of Idaho is red. Idaho is known for its strong conservative climate, with the majority leaning toward the Republican side of things. But it is important to know that there are definitely areas in Idaho that definitely lean more to the Democratic side of things. Boise and the cities of Haley and Moscow are 3 examples. So for some who are considering moving to Idaho in search of a more conservative leaning atmosphere, if they identify Boise, which more often than not is one of the first Idaho cities and areas people identify because, yeah, it's both the capital and the biggest metro area in the state, well, Boise's political leanings might not be what you're looking for, and you might just find yourself checking out some of its surrounding cities such as Meridian, Eagle, or Coeur that are more predominantly red. Here is an interesting interactive resource for you to check out that really does a great job illustrating the breakdown. You can use it to see how specific areas voted back during our last election, so the 2020 election, and you can also see the 2016 election. On the other side, though, if perhaps you identify more closely with the Democratic side of things, if seeing a big old truck just plastered with Go Brandon stickers and flying several Trump 2024 flags is gonna irk you, well then you're gonna have to brace yourself or pick a different state, because living in Idaho will mean that you will likely on a daily basis, and sometimes more than once or twice, see just that. And that's true even in the more liberal leaning cities such as Boise. So just know that on both sides of the political spectrum, we have known people who've arrived only to find themselves bouncing right back or bouncing to another Idaho city based on politics because, well, they just aren't thrilled with what they find. And again, we have seen this happen with both Democrats and Republicans. Number 2, yes, we have sales tax and income tax. Now, while Idaho generally has lower income and property taxes compared to neighboring states such as California, Washington, and Oregon, well, we, unlike the state of Oregon, have sales tax. And paying 6% every single time you check out the grocery store, which for me, with 2 rambunctious, just crazy little boys, is quite a lot, yeah, that 6% tax burden can and does add up. So for some, our sales tax alone has surprised and sometimes just deterred people altogether. As far as income tax goes, here in Idaho, our income tax is currently right at 5.8%. So this is higher than most initially anticipate. So if you are considering moving to Idaho from, say, Florida, Texas, or Alaska, none of which have an income tax, that 5.8% probably doesn't sound too great. On this note, though, I am often surprised to talk with people about taxes. Before I go further, I should hit pause here because I am by no means a CPA, not even close. I really probably know just enough to be dangerous. But I have definitely had conversations over the past several years with people regarding taxes and issues, and it just seems like there is a lot of just general confusion regarding taxes, especially when it comes to considering making any kind of out-of-state or state-to-state move. So before you make any big decisions where taxes are being factored in, I would definitely advise you to touch base with an experienced financial advisor or tax professional who can provide you with tailored advice based on your specific circumstance. Okay, so what is the number one thing to know before you move to Idaho? Life may not be perfect here, but it might just be perfect for you. If you love the great outdoors, 4 seasons, beautiful landscapes, and amazing people, then Idaho might just be perfect for you. Give us a call or shoot us a text. We would love to help you find out if Idaho is the place for you. Or if you want any other info, we have lots of other videos on our channel that might answer your questions. And then, of course, let me know if you have any questions that our videos don't answer. We'd love to talk to you and connect with you.
I've got some questions I want answers.
And if you found this video helpful and you are feeling particularly nice and giving today, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Not only will it help us to ensure that you see future videos, but it also just kind of is a pat on the back for us and inspires us to keep filming videos. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great day.